This is BottomlineBurke.
Respect.
The expensive truth with BottomlineBurke. The expensive truth with BottomlineBurke.
The expensive truth with BottomlineBurke.
And that's the bottom line.
I want to thank you guys for the opportunity today to join you on BottomlineBurke. It's been a pleasure for me to see your growth, not only as a professional, but as a man. You know, you came here with a lot of dreams and hopes and aspirations, and you pivoted 2-3 times and redefined yourself and who you were. And with you creating the BottomlineBurke, you created a tremendous platform to reach your community and also help grow the minds and the spirits of the people that are watching. And I think that's a profound gift. And I'm blessed to be here with you and grateful to share space with you in order to empower the minds of the audience, the production team. But I want this to be an ecosystem of growth and learning that we can share. It's a lot bigger than microphones and cords and cameras and online activity. It's about how we're empowering and touching people every day with humanity. Because at the end of the day, it's like how many people that you help when you lay down. You're not looking at engagements or metrics or links or accounts. You're looking at how many people in this world have I touched and made better because of my existence. And so having a platform like this and allowing people to share their voices and building a community around that is a great part to push the culture and the community forward. So I commend you for that.
I received that, and that's love. You know what I mean? And ladies and gentlemen, I wanted just to say welcome to another episode of The Expensive Truth with BottomlineBurke. The gentleman you just heard, those kind, generous words, his name's Jesse Mills. Some may know him as Jesse Bills Brands.
Okay.
And there's years, right, that in life, all you have is questions, right? And then there's years you receive answers. And this year is one of those years that I received answers that I prayed about, worried about, cried about back in 2010s. And this is a beautiful thing to have you be a part of this, because when I first came, you know, you was the one who gave me my first toast. But a lot of people lately, you know, have been noticing the brand BottomlineBurke. I love it. You know what I'm saying? I love it. But also they also come with their concerns. And there's not a better person to talk about social media concerns, brand questions. So let's just jump right into it. Yeah. What would you advise the people out there who has concerns about how to grow their social media platforms?
So for one, the biggest thing that we have to do is put a mirror up to ourselves. So you have to have a conversation with yourself, right? And be upfront with yourself. These are the things I'm strong in. These are the things I want to work on. Of course, we're always going to improve our weaknesses. But one of the great things that we can focus on is actually amplifying our strengths.
Right. Not only that, I love that point. That was good. Some good advice. And I know from the sports, they always say confidence is the deodorant for everything, like winning, right? And it's an internal job. And also, I think, especially here in Atlanta, I think it's important to evaluate what your values are, right? And during your time here in Atlanta, I would imagine, like you just said, I pivoted multiple times. I'm sure there's different iterations of Jesse in different industries. Like when I first came here, you was a promoter. Now you're doing a fantastic job building the brands. What was something early on that you valued, but now at this age and stage and season in life that you occupy, that you no longer value?
So for one, no matter what stage you're in, you should always keep a curious and adventurous spirit.
Absolutely.
Because if you have that curiosity and adventure, that positions you to learn more at any stage you are in the process, whether you're entry, intermediate, or expert.
Right.
So maintain that spirit that you had when you first started, even as you get deposits, even as you're going in your industry, even as you becoming more esteemed as an expert and getting awards and being on bigger clients and accounts.
Right.
However, when I started, it was about exploration. coming out of Clark University with a marketing degree, I immediately went and worked for some leading organizations, Bloomberg, Edelman, in the areas of brand communications.
Okay.
Learning brand communications from the inside out was my journey initially to acquire that knowledge and to have hands-on practical experience in the industry that led me to working within the spirits industry, primarily within the spirits industry across multiple suppliers and brands. Represented and launched over 36 brands, including line extensions for Heineken, Moet Hennessy, Brown-Forman, a lot of major beverage houses, especially within the luxury alcoholics category, right? And so from there, it transitioned actually into taking that color and that lifestyle from the spirits, hospitality, and entertainment industry and transitioning it into industries that were a little bit more cookie cutter and less colorful.
Right.
And
No, go ahead. Finish.
and then from there, bringing it more forward, transitioning lifestyle and hospitality. My clients have been within the legal sector, energy sector, and transitioning some of those skills and the penchants for creativity and color and panache and style has helped us tell brand stories across these two industries. Even though the industries are very different when you're dealing with the energy sector and also the attorney sector versus what you would see in luxury lifestyle branding or beverages, there are a lot of similarities if somebody switches their lens, right? And so these are the industries that need to communicate with audiences, and there's a lot more opportunity for innovation because they need to reach a large base and utilize social media, influence, and a lot of these colorful tactics that are used in the other space.
Right.
But it's newer on this side. So what we've done is we've taken that as our IP and used it as innovation to push industries that are traditionally less colorful, might be a little bit cookie cutter and cheesy, and make their brand messages translate in a cool cultural lifestyle way.
That's phenomenal, B. And one of the things that translates, you mentioned a lot of different industries. It's a lot of different personalities that you managing expectations and boundaries, right? Both personally and professionally. How, in the midst of all that, during that time period, were you able to successfully differentiate between personal relationships and transactional relationships? Because I know there's a lot of people who find that as a challenge today.
So you're going to have personal relationships and you're going to have business relationships. You'll have business relationships that become personal. You're going to have personal relationships that turn business. It can happen in different ways. And so what we have to allow ourselves to do is to respond to things in the world as they change. Things are going to always be changing and dynamic. Right? Some relationships can stay within the personal space. Some of the relationships will stay purely professional. The tricky part is when you get that gray area where, you know, there's that balance of the personal. We started off as friends and now we're breaking bread together.
And now these hard truths and decisions have to be made.
The hard truth decision has to be made. So don't approach business with a friend or somebody that you have a relationship with different than a business person. So you should have an understanding of guidelines. You should have agreements. You should have standard operating procedures. A lot of times those personal relationships that turn business go sour because they don't observe the traditional business practices in those relationships.
That's a good point.
If you care about that personal relationship, you should protect it more strongly, the business component of it more strongly.
Right.
Because not only do you have a business goal in mind, but you also have a friendship, if it's a true grounded friendship that you want to protect. And business is protected by what? Agreements.
I was going to say
documents,
contracts, conversations.
And so make sure you're doing business, when you're doing business with somebody personally, you have to have those agreements and business in there to make sure that personal relationship is also protected.
Yeah, I think that's outstanding advice. So that's also a similar sentiment when loaning money and with friends and families is just as far as being that clarity. Go ahead.
There's a higher level of expectation management. This is where self-awareness and maturity comes in. There's a higher level of expectation management and some entitlement that often is carried within that personal relationship that you're doing business with.
Now, when you say personal, wait, real quick. just for clarity purposes, when you say personal relation, are you talking about friends, family, or are you just talking about loved ones? Or
I think those terms can be used interchangeably.
Okay.
I would just say a relationship that started in a personal space.
Okay.
Right? Could be family, could even be romantic. You could start doing business. You could have an idea with a romantic partner that turns into a business opportunity, right?
I got you.
What I was gonna say for that is, on either side, whether you're the business person or the client in this relationship, there is a heightened sense of entitlement that comes with somebody that you have a personal relationship going into a business space with you.
Right.
And so there should be a higher level of self-awareness around setting expectations with that person or that entity in order to let them know, like, we're now entering into a business space. And being able to separate those two conversations, because you know this person is coming in with 10, 15 years of friendship experience. It even could be a line brother. It could be a cousin. You have to manage that and check that. And then consistently throughout the relationship, manage the expectations of the relationship and tie that back into your SOPs of your agreement of what the scope of work is.
Right, standard operations.
Because they're going to expect a little bit more than what you're giving somebody who's just doing business with them off the street.
Right.
And it's important to create distinguishing factors to let them know, hey, my job is to deliver this. Thanksgiving is Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Lunch is lunch. We're still going to go do the game, but we're going to deliver this at this level. If I throw something extra in, that's at my discretion. However, this is how I'm delivering this at a high level. And usually if you have those conversations on the front end and do your best to mitigate risk and prepare for the worst, the thing that outside of the business aspect and that I'm getting at with the management of expectations is having EQ.
Yes. I was just about to say emotional intelligence. I was gonna say that very important. The word that kept coming to is capacity, right? A lot of folks, what you're talking about is very mature in having clear boundaries, having contracts in place, just as far as all communications. But a lot of folks, like you said, don't have that self-awareness or emotional intelligence or maturity to be able to consistently differentiate. That's why I think it's, like what you said, was important to continuously have follow-up conversations about that. And evolution is also something that definitely comes in play as well. And what I find lately, the conversations that I'm having with, quote unquote successful people, is they want peace, right? But the grind don't stop. The ambition continues to grow the more success you see, right? Is it possible for an individual to find an intersection with peace and ambition amicably and have those relationships, still be vibrant and viable?
That's a great question. These aren't things that should war with one another.
Wait. Yo, that was almost a genius response. Wait, say that. You gotta say that. That caught me. That caught me. Say that again. Say that again.
Peace and ambition shouldn't be at war with another.
Love that. Okay.
There's a sense of contentment that we need to have. Contentment means that I haven't necessarily reached the destination. I'm still working. I'm in this season. However, I still have a sense of peace and happiness at the space that I'm currently in.
Right. Amen.
I'm not at the last chapter of the book. I'm not at the beginning of the book.
I'm present.
But while I am matriculating through these stages and these seasons in life, I am going to be present and peaceful and happy at the space that I'm in.
Right.
Whether that's a beginner phase, an intermediate phase, a phase where I've made closer. Because we're never truly finished. We're always a work in progress. However, if we don't enjoy ourselves and have contentment along the journey, we do ourselves a disservice where we're fighting and waiting for peace. We're not fighting and waiting for peace.
Right.
Peace is something that we acquire while we're in the journey and through the journey.
Absolutely.
It's not something it's not a destination. It's a daily practice of a lifestyle.
No question. And before I move on to the next subject, this is good. Woo! This is good. You smoking, man. And The question I have for you, I'm gonna do a little change ball. I'm gonna do a little baseball. How does Jesse find peace when he don't get what he want? Right? Because you had a very clear, concise, brilliant answer just now. But there have to be moments or circumstances that arise that Jesse don't have an answer. How do you settle that? Yeah.
So for one, you should have a healthy relationship with anger. Anger can be a healthy emotion.
It is very healthy.
Disappointment can be a healthy emotion. Frustration is a healthy emotion. But as you know, with a lot of emotions, it isn't you necessarily feeling the emotion.
Right.
It's what you do with the emotion when it's
Exactly.
present. You go through those stages, right? You'll go through those stages where you're mad, you're angry. But give yourself a season to deal with that experience.
Amen.
Those other emotions create a pathway and a gateway to your peace. If you are feeling the full realm of emotions.
Right.
Laugh, cry, be angry, be frustrated, right? Along the path. And as you experience those things, and we acknowledge our humanity around life and the inconsistencies of life and the seasonalities of life, I have times where I'm very frustrated. I have times where there's things that I'm dealing with. I have ways that you can vent and kind of share those things. Whether those are things that you do in the gym, conversations that you have with your friends, your pastor, your therapist, family members. Oh, these are all people that comprise your counsel.
Right.
And they can help you go through these journeys. Because a lot of times people have experienced a similar, even though your life is unique, a lot of times people have experienced a similar juncture or challenge that you faced.
Right.
And
need healthy outlets.
In those times, you need those healthy outlets. And as you're on your path, don't feel guilty about feeling the full range of emotions, even emotions that could be interpreted as negative, because they make way for healthy space and growth and progress, because a lot of change comes through challenge.
Right. No, absolutely. What's a man without his discipline? And all competitors love challenges. You know what I'm saying? And you kind of remind me a little bit about Major League. I don't know, it's back in the 80s, you know what I mean? But Charlie Sheen famously starred in the movie Major Leagues, and he came out, dun, 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 you know what I mean? The music. I could imagine just listening to this conversation and kind of hearing the interworkings of your mind. You kind of took us to church, you know what I mean? Not him, but the hymns, you know what I mean? What do you do listen to when you know on that day you're gonna have a big meeting, you're gonna have a good interview, you know what I mean? What kind of music, or what's your ritual to kind of get ready to kind of alleviate those emotions you just outlined, to make sure you're bringing your best self forward?
That's a great question.
I'm only gonna give you my best, Jesse. Come on, nigga. I'm only gonna give you my best now.
I know. That's all I would expect from a top 2% athlete.
Hey,
so,
man.
you know, we all aspire to that.
Trying to make a black man blush. All right.
But music is very much the soundtrack to my life. And when I'm in a space of relaxing or preparing for my day, or I just need to be in like a poised, clean space, I love listening to Anita Baker.
Yeah.
I also really enjoy Sade.
Yes.
And those are two artists, Anita Baker and Sade, that I come to that put me in a relaxed and poised space. And I listen to them before presentations. I listen to them before big meetups. And it allows me to, for that moment, to have some reprise and a form of counterbalancing against some stresses, or maybe even a little bit of anxiety or nervousness that might come with something in business or in life that could be happening.
Yes.
And I felt that as you kind of do that internally, and I listen to it in the shower, really, as I'm getting ready. Yeah. It really provides me a sense of calm going into the challenging world that we're in. Absolutely.
And impeccable taste, by the way. We talk about Anita Baker and Sade, very specific. And there's been a long-standing question that I ask myself, because it seems like you and I share the appreciation of good music, and we are able to have the ear musically to acknowledge anointed voices. And throughout our time, we've been blessed with the Lionels, the Donnies, the Anitas, the Sades, the Whitneys, the Arethas. You know, I could go on and on. The Luthers. Here's a question I always ask myself, and I would like to get your thoughts on it. Would you prefer to hear from a male voice, or do you have a greater appreciation for like a male vocalist or a female vocalist?
I like both. Usually when I'm going into a space of calm and peace, it's a female vocalist. Male vocalists can be a combination of all. They really both can be a combination of all, but it's just a personal preference. But I like the idea of amazing male voices as well.
Yes.
I love the idea of a Luther Vandross.
Yes.
I like Joe.
Joe, yeah. I want to know.
I like KC.
Yes.
I like Boys to Men.
Yes.
Right? You know, I even like Bobby Womack.
Yes.
James Ingram is one of my favorite vocalists. You know, so Charlie Wilson is up there with one of my favorite male vocalists of all time. He has just a natural soul, and he could hit his notes.
Right. That's the question. All right, so that's my question. That's why I asked the question.
Seamlessly.
Yes.
And then you have your all-time greats. You have Whitney. You have Aretha. And so there's a lot of great vocalists across the board.
Yeah, no problem. And that perfectly segues into my next question. I know there's a lot of discussions today with AI artists, right? And it's inevitable in this landscape, in this day and time, you have to have some type of education, knowledge, or awareness of AI. How much have you and Jesse Bill's brands incorporated AI into your recommendations for your clients, or just as far as the technology that you use to elevate your clients' brands?
So let's take a step back for a second. AI is new, but big leaps in technical innovation is not new.
Amen. Okay. Okay, go ahead. That's a great distinction.
Technical leaps are not revolutionary.
Right.
Right? I happen to be old enough to be around during the internet age.
Yes.
Some of our parents, were around through different post-Civil War. Some of our parents were around during the Civil Rights Movement.
Radio.
You have the Industrial Revolution.
Yeah, about that, yeah.
We're transitioning from linear screens now to digital. And handheld screens. Technological advancement is something that we need to get used to, because there's going to be another leap.
Yes.
We need to think pre-A.I. and post-A.I.
Okay.
We're so caught up in the moment that we're losing context of the historical implications, that technological advancement is always going to be something that is going to challenge us to grow.
Right. It's inevitable.
People are fearful of things that are new. They're also fearful of taking the time to challenge themselves and grow and use a new discipline. AI is a new muscle that we need to work and create.
Right.
It provides opportunities for us to iterate on ideas, to help flesh out strategies, to serve with us as a staff member or a business partner. Everybody's talking about Amazon layoffs, but who are you laying off for AI within your current business ecosystem as a solopreneur, as an entrepreneur, as a small business? As an agency, we're utilizing AI to help our clients advance and meet new audiences.
Right.
To solidify their messaging strategies, to provide innovative ideas, and cultivating and growing our resources. Think about AI as a team member and an amplifier of what you're currently doing well.
Right. A collaborator.
It's not a replacement.
Right.
It is a collaborator.
A complementary
force in the success, not only of yourself, but in your relationships and also for your clients.
I think that's a refreshing way of looking at it, and it's a different perspective that not a lot of people are even aware of, or will even know to think like that. It's just kind of like that think tank where this is how it's presented originally, and this is how I interpret it, and this is how I'm going to move forward with that. So I appreciate the alternative way of thinking about it and hopefully embracing it. Final thoughts, just what are some things that's at the top of your mind that you want to share, with this audience?
One of the things that as a culture we need to work on, I see a lot of people talking about how they're downtrodden and they're mad at the world or they've been hurt. Hurt and disappointment are some of the things that build our muscles and our emotional strength and provide us with intangibles in terms of infinity stones and how we navigate and grow ourselves in our relationships. As we are hurt and disappointed, there's two things that I want the audience and I'm working on internally. Don't allow hurt and disappointment to affect the purity and how you initially start off in your heart.
Right.
So we all start off typically as children with a pureness and a sincerity in our heart. And as we go through the perils of the world and the challenges, a lot of times we lose that hope. We lose that capacity to love. We go through a romantic partner that does us wrong, a business partner who's shiesty, right? And we're dealing with these experiences, and it takes away the superpower of us to operate in pure love of our heart. Don't allow the challenge of the world to take away the gift of your heart.
Oof, the gift of your heart. Okay.
Because operating in a heart space and loving is actually a gift.
Say more.
And any time that you're operating within a spiritual gift and in an area that you're gifted in, that's where you're going to be challenged the most.
Amen. Makes sense.
Right now, as a culture, we're being challenged to go into darker patterns and darker ways of manipulation to try to get ahead because we don't feel that operating in a pure heart space will get us to our intended destination.
Right.
However,
Real quick, is one of the, you're talking about the algorithms as far as how they amplify rage, and that's where
No, I'm specifically talking about relationships, not necessarily how it fits into that thing, but it can relate to that.
Okay.
I'm talking about something that's more deeply rooted than that.
Yeah.
That's a translation of it on a
Talking about
specific
humanity.
I'm talking about humanity.
Yeah, I got you.
Don't allow challenges to take away the gift of your heart, the gift that your heart was meant to share with the world. However, there's something that comes with that. So for every maxim, there's a reversal to it, right? That means that you have to protect your heart at all costs.
Right.
It's in a word for it's the wellspring of life, correct?
You've been going to church all day. I know you grew up in church.
So just as big as our gift is, our protection also needs to follow that. Amen. So when people talk about being down in the world and not wanting to love and not operating purely and not being a good businessman or not wanting to love that next partner, they're operating out of a sense of fear versus saying, hey, I'm going to take these steps to better protect one of my best investments, which is my heart.
Your heart. Yeah.
And so the inner work about protecting your heart, and here we have this mirror again, is how can I do more inner work to be more strategic in how I'm protecting my best asset, which is my heart.
No, it's brilliant. I think it's a brilliant answer because a lot of times when people feel that way, they decide to cut corners. But as
or cut off.
Or cut off. Yeah.
They decide to cut it off.
Right.
Turn the faucet off.
I'm gonna get real quick because I want to say because when you cut corners in life, rest in peace to Dan Reeves, my former Atlanta Falcons coach used to say, when you cut corners in life, don't expect to get a square deal. However, I wanted to give that gem, but cut people off. Talk about that because it's so prevalent, especially in our culture. I know even my own family, if you say something they don't like, you do something that they don't like, you're going to get blocked. And I know that's like a stonewall and it's very toxic. It's very unhealthy. However, people don't know. But you're talking about something different, just relationship.
Well, let's talk about blocking for one. It's a thing in itself. It's not it's related to what we're saying, but let's just separate that.
Okay.
Right? So blocking. There are people that you invite into your cipher that are no longer invited.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. How you choose to extract them from your social network or it's from your life is in your choosing.
Right.
So you can choose to not communicate with them anymore. You can choose to block them. But whatever means of separation that you choose, be steadfast in that choice of separation. Right. Everybody that you've invited, that season might be over.
Amen.
Or they didn't value it. They didn't value the relationship or the energy that you were sharing with them.
Right.
And that's okay. But be okay with the separation, whatever means that you choose.
Right. Stand on business.
You got to stand on that.
Right.
You got to stand on that. And who knows? There might be another season. Maybe, maybe not. Right? But for this season has expired.
Right. Amen.
And this is how I've chosen to separate.
Yeah.
Another thing is, every time you point a finger, there's 4 fingers being pointed right back at you. Right? One question that I want people to ask in every relationship, whether it's business, personal, or romantic, right, is ask that person if it's a new vendor coming to you that you're looking for to service your business. What was your role in your last failed relationship?
Oof.
Not what did that person do to you or what that client did to you. What was your role in the failure of that relationship?
Right.
And what have you shifted since then?
Right.
A romantic partner comes to you and they're saying, yo, my ex is doing this, blah, blah, blah. He's acting wild. I haven't seen him. He went to the DR and he came back. And he was
Well, DR would do that to
He
you.
said, I went to the DR, he came back. I don't know if he was the same. You know what I mean? He wasn't the same guy like he came back.
Yeah, ever since he went to Santo Domingo.
Right. You haven't been the same. I don't know. He's been walking a little different, right? And so always ask people, what was your role in your past failed relationships? People always want to tell you about the ex and how the ex was so toxic. People always want to tell you about a client and now the previous client was so bad. What they tend to not be as upfront about is what was your role in that past failed relationship? If you ask somebody else, you ask that other partner, or you ask that person's best friend, or the counsel that they'll be confiding in, you might get a different version of that story.
Absolutely.
However, internally, you need to ask yourself first, what did I need to work on? And what can I gain from my past failed relationships? Let's just say this outcome isn't what I wanted.
Right.
It created challenges. There was a way that I grow. There was hurt. There was pain. But what was my role in that failed relationship? We can't just spend our time blaming the other person for failed relationships if we weren't taking the steps to say, hey, there's some fallibility in me. There's some things that I need to work on that I could grow in order to push myself forward and other people I interact with in the future, without having to blame society for my failures or struggles.
Absolutely. I think spot on. And you gave a lot to ponder, a lot of food for thought. They always say in therapy the most important voice is your own. The most important person is yourself. And I think in this climate, there's a lot of selfish people. And I guess the question and the final question, I respect your time. In this ever rapidly short-lived relationship environment, both men and women still yearn to have relationships, marriages, things like that, even though the numbers are what they are. What is your thoughts just on, I guess, on a macro level, or how would you advise somebody, male or female, who have those aspirations but repeatedly keep getting challenged when reality says differently?
So if you talking, it's a lot of ways to answer this, but I'll say a few things in no particular order. Right. And so a lot of people want to get married or be in partnership, right? Are you representing the ideal qualities that you want in your partner?
That's a good question.
You want to get married. Are you a good husband? Do you exhibit the qualities that comprises a good husband, a good leader of a household, a good supporter of a wife, a leader of a family? Are you exhibiting that internally now?
Right.
Relationships will show us all of those ugly things that we try to mask and hide.
Amen.
Going into deep partnership and relationships will expose all of those things. And so how can we confront these things that we need to work on and perfect ourselves as much as we can internally before we seek wholeness or to be of service to somebody else within a relational structure?
Right.
And so I always understand how internal leads to the external first. And so you'll notice a lot of my responses, I've gone into that.
Right.
And so not just based on the destination, but what am I doing internally to get there? Because Andy Stanley says our direction determines our destination.
Amen. You gotta know where you're going to go where you're going.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
And our direction, right? In order to get to Alpharetta, we got to take 400 north. There's a journey, right? Our direction determines our destination. We can't get to Alpharetta on 75 south from Midtown.
Right. I got you.
So if you're seeking a certain peace and a certain fortitude out of life, your direction determines your destination.
Mm-hmm.
We know what a caloric deficit will get us when we're working out.
Right.
We know what we know what effect creatine will have on the muscle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Taking it and the benefits of these things. Our direction determines our destination. Mm-hmm. We know what foods will get us in the place that we want to go. Our direction determines our destination. We know what habits of peace will generate more peace in our lives. Music, having a morning routine, being kind to ourselves, telling ourselves good things.
Yeah.
Our direction determines our destination.
Amen. Well said. And we got to come to a close, but he's been talking a lot about direction. I don't know what else needs to be said as far as you not going directly to Jesse Bill's Brands for a recommendation. You know, if you enjoyed this conversation just a little bit, when you get one-on-one with this brother, and I'm sure for the viewers who watch this entire interview, I know you got nuggets. I know you got things you can implement into your life today. I know you rewired some of your brain and just had a chance to get a new perspective. Because I think in life, that's what you want. You want a healthy new perspective that will allow you to overcome some of the hurdles and things that are allowing you to be stagnant and blocking you. Ladies and gentlemen.
I have a couple of things to add before we close out.
Oh, go ahead.
I
want to be respectful for your time. I was about to say Nas.
I got like 2 minutes.
Okay, go. One love, baby.
One love. I got you. A few things is making sure whatever you share online on social media, whatever checks that you're writing online, you cash offline. Ooh. That means in person. Ooh. There needs to be integrity between the person that we project on social media and what we get when we meet people day to day.
Right.
That should be as good, if not better, than what you're saying on social media. Because all of those filters at some point have to come off, and you have to show up as your authentic self to the world, right?
Amen. Well, this interview, hopefully, ladies and gentlemen, has positively impacted some aspect of your life. I can almost guarantee it. Thank you for your time, Jesse.
Thank you for having me. Bottom line.
Yeah.
The bottom line, Burke.
Amen.
It always makes me think of Stone Cold Steve Austin. Because that's the bottom line.
Right. Meanwhile, I wasn't a wrestling fan. I stopped doing that at the Hulk Hogan.
Oh, my God.
At the
Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
And you have bottom line. That's the bottom line.
I know. A lot of folks have told me that, colleagues and everything.
That's a big deal.
He was a big deal in wrestling, no question. Speaking of a big deal, find something in life you love. And as Jesse kept masterfully woven in this conversation, be consistent in order for you to be successful. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, this is BottomlineBurke. Go ahead, do your thing.
And that's the bottom line. Because Jamal Burke, BC Eagle, ATL Falcon, said so.
Oh, I'm going to let you keep going.
Okay, I know you're ready. You're ready.
Nah, that's what's up. Respect.
All right, love.
All right, peace, love.